Hi everyone and welcome to Adobe Live. Yes, we're doing some interactive drawing with Bill Hope. Hey Bill, how are you doing?
Good, good. Hope everyone's doing well this morning
Yeah,
or
hey
this evening.
everybody. Everybody in chat, what is up? R&B's here, Festus is here, I'm here, Johanna looking after us in chat. That's really great because we are relying on chat today. We really want your suggestions. If you've seen this before, you know what's coming. We're going to do interactive drawing. So Bill is going to be drawing, scribing, all sorts of things. We're going to be using Fresco today. I think we've always traditionally done this with Photoshop. Is that right?
We have. So this is my first time trying it in Fresco. Lots of similarities, but plenty of differences with this one. But really keen to be back into one of these kind of sessions.
Yeah, and I love this. I think I mentioned before, this is always one of my favorite sessions, especially because we would usually put this like on a Friday. So it's Friday in the morning. Well, it's 11 o'clock here in Sydney, probably Thursday if you're over in the US. But it's just such a nice, chill stream to end the week. And it's a lot of fun hanging out with you.
And apologies to our US listeners. It's suddenly started to get very summery and lovely and warm here.
That's
So we're
right.
doing a beach themed session today. So yeah, yeah.
That's right.
It's my first stream ever in a t-shirt. So excited to have that first as well.
And it's so hot where I am right now. So I'm super excited that I get to wear a singlet on stream. I hope it doesn't offend anybody, but it's so cool because it is cooking where I am. This is Coogee Beach, which is around the corner from me here in Sydney. So I thought that was quite nice to, here we go, have a little look there. It actually looks a lot like that today. So I might be hitting
It's
the
very
beach.
similar. I used to live in Coogee. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful place.
It's really lovely, isn't it? But yeah. So let's get stuck into it. We're here for an hour, so I want to get stuck into it while we can. Let's fade back over so we can check out this beach scene that you've set up. And
Yeah,
we
so
will
we've got
be, yeah. Go on.
oh no, I've just sketched up a very basic kind of background. So I've kind of got this cross section of some water and some waves, and then going into a sandy part of the beach here. So what we're looking for is suggestions of ways to sort of populate the scene. I've started off with a little Flynn here under his umbrella in his singlet,
Nice.
relaxing in the sun. So very keen for any suggestions that you guys might have. Just chuck them in the chat. And I'll be working through Fresco. So any questions about the brushes that I'm using, some of the techniques that I'm using, just let me know, and we'll talk through those as we go along as well.
That's awesome. And I do appreciate that you've put me in the shade. As you can probably tell, like I don't hit the beach up as much as I probably should for someone that lives so close, but I have this Irish heritage. And yeah, the beach is usually 20 to 30 minutes in the Australian sun. Yeah, there we go. I've been there way too
I'll
long.
put a
As soon as you
little bit
added
of
that
shit.
shade. By the end of the stream, you can just make me like bright lobster red.
Yeah,
And that will
I'll
be, that will be pretty accurate.
Okay, awesome. So I might just start sketching away. So I think I'm going to use one of the inking brushes to get going. I love these ones because you don't have a lot of room to think too much. You sort of just have to dive right in with it. So let's test that out. It's feeling good. And I'm going to start with maybe a surfer sitting back, waiting on his wave to come through. And in the meanwhile, very keen to hear any ideas everyone has on what to add into this scene.
Nice.
I think I
Yep.
might
So
add
throw
in a
your
few items.
suggestions in. Bit of a freestyle session today, so just throw them in. We'll pick them out as we're going along. It has been suggested that I need to be wearing duck floaties, which is which is
Sure.
pretty accurate. I can tell you a funny story about that actually, because we do
Please
live
do.
right near the beach. A lot of my friends would often go to the beach, and for whatever reason, I would always be busy or not go. And there was a bit of a rumor that I actually didn't know how to swim for quite a long time, which is not true. But yeah, so I think the floaties are pretty accurate to help,
Right, right.
help the stereotype along.
Yeah, I was talking to someone. It's interesting having some US people on the stream as well. I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in the United States, and she was remarking on how it was sort of strange, very strange to meet someone in Australia who didn't know how to swim. And
Mm,
I didn't realize quite sort of how much of a culture of making sure people can swim in Australia is. I don't think it's quite as much of a big thing in other countries.
mm,
Because sort of there are beaches. Most people live near the coast, so most people are going to go to the beach, and they're rough at times. So you kind of need to have that.
Yeah, and I guess like learning about the surf and swimming between the flags is a big deal.
Yeah. And we were talking
well.
about that horrible ordeal everyone had to go through. I don't know if this happens in America at all, but it's sort of a tradition Australians have to go through as kids to, at some point, be thrown into a pool wearing all their winter clothes and then having to sort of get out of those clothes and swim to safety. Did you ever have to do that, Flynn?
I never had to do that. No.
Oh, really? Oh, everyone I talked to, maybe it was I don't know, maybe it was a Central Coast thing, but it was a thing you had to dive in the pool with like all your jumpers and stuff on, and then sort of try and get your jumper off and swim to safety because it all just kind of weighed you down.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. No, I've
why
never
you
done
would
that.
be sort of, yeah, I mean, I don't know what they were assuming everyone would be sort of out at the beach or on jetties in their winter clothes in the first place. But anyway, it was a thing. So we've got a surfer guy there. Might start putting some fishes in. Unfortunately, I don't have a view of the chat today, Flynn. So if you could just start throwing through suggestions anytime you get them, that's awesome.
Well, there's been definitely some suggestions of ducks as well. So
ducks, okay.
I mean, it wouldn't be a live stream without them.
Yeah.
Festus is saying swimming here in New Zealand is big too. The furthest you can get from the ocean in New Zealand is 140 kilometers.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. I assume so. It's sort of that
a lot of coast.
I might have a duck here on his own surfboard, ready to go.
That's awesome. And so we have. I like the way that you've laid this out because we have the beach, we have the sky, and we also have the ocean. So
we've got options.
A lot of options.
Like. Yeah.
We've got turtles as a suggestion, which is super cool.
Oh yeah. Definitely get some of those.
Love turtles.
Yeah.
How often does drawing turtles come up?
I'm definitely a turtle fan as well. So I think there's been certainly a number of sort of self-instigated turtles throughout my career. I'm trying to think of any professional turtles that I've done. I did a children's book cover once, which had a big turtle on it. So done a little bit of it that way, but I can't say it's come up a great deal in my commercial work. Oh, actually, that's not true. I did a bunch of barrier reef stuff for a museum in Singapore, I think. They were designing a sort of virtual reality experience to go through a reef. And I drew a number of turtles for that. So yeah, you come across all kinds of things eventually.
Yep.
So this guy with his crinkly little neck. It's always good to add a couple of little bubbles. Gives you a sense of direction with these ones.
I like that he's checking out the surfer.
Yeah. Well, while we're talking Fresco, I was working on some other projects in Photoshop earlier today, and I'm very late to the party, but I tried out the cloud. Saving your files in cloud to pick up in Fresco later on, because I wanted to use the live brushes for something, but I wanted to work within Photoshop for most of it. And it was so cool. I'd never done it before until this morning, but it was really cool sort of having exactly the same file that I was working in Photoshop, and then I just opened it, did the splashy stuff that I wanted in Fresco, and then put it back into Photoshop. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it's always nice discovering those things.
It's really good. Yeah, I remember when Andrew Hotradell, who is on the Adobe Live all the time, shout out. When he was over here, we did a couple of things, and he just opened his laptop up and had like every single file that he ever used, like ready to go here in Sydney, Australia. We were actually at Adobe, funnily enough, was hanging out with some Adobe people. And we were all like, oh, wow, like everything's just there. Like, what do you use? And he's like, I use Creative Cloud. Like, it just works really well. And we're like, oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, we should probably be using that too.
Yeah. I guess there's so many new features that are coming out. You sometimes become a little bit kind of numb to all the pop-ups. You're like, okay, new thing.
Yeah.
So sometimes you forget that they're all sort of there, ready to go.
That's right.
So it was really nice to sort of just tap into one of those.
And we got heaps of suggestions, so you just shout out when you want some. So we've got some great stuff. But also, Sarah, Bill is such a talented human. Yes, he is.
Thank you, Sarah. Very
talented.
kind.
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
How about how about a seahorse?
A seahorse. Okay,
Thanks,
great.
Jessica, for the suggestion.
Seahorses, I feel like I'm a little bit off the hook because if you Google seahorses, I was trying to draw one a little while ago, and there's just like every single kind you can imagine of seahorse. So you can pretty much draw any shape that you want and call it a seahorse. But they are so weird. They are just like the most alien creatures ever. They are just from another planet altogether, and they've got these amazing sort of. They're almost like birds of paradise. Sort of some of the kinds of foliage and stuff that they have coming off them. They're amazing creatures.
And just like watching them swim, yeah, they're tiny, aren't they? And watching them swim, it like just sort of looks very, very bizarre.
Yeah, because they kind of do that. It's almost like a squid. How they kind of contract and expand to push themselves along. I hope you guys don't mind me using this extra rough brush. One thing about Fresco is I'm usually working on a sort of 1.5 meter long canvas. And Fresco, for all its positives, is still on an iPad, so you don't quite have the same canvas proportions to work with. But I kind of like the sort of chaos that you get from working up close with one of these brushes. There's all these unintended sort of textures and things that you get coming out, and I find that really fun.
I noticed you're cutting back like quite a lot with the eraser. Is there a shortcut to getting there? Are you clicking?
I have been. That's a very good question.
Just because you're doing it really fast, so. Yeah,
no, I've just been show color picker, switch to eraser. That is a thing, Flynn. I was previously unaware, but there you go. I can just switch back and forth. Okay, well that's cool. Good to know that.
Keep the suggestions coming in, guys. There's a bunch of great suggestions in there. We'll definitely get to them, so that's super cool.
Okay, we've got our little cowboy guy riding his seahorse around.
I like his cowboy.
Cool.
Everyone's like super interested in this surfer.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What do we need?
They're all they're. I mean, like all the illustrations are checking out the surfer. They're like, man, this dude is so good.
Oh right. Like, he's an attractive man. What can you say? Yeah. Getting some attention.
We must be at Bondi.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I don't know if you had the same experience moving to Coogee, but it feels like everyone is at least, I'm going to say, 15% more attractive in Coogee Beach. And I was very much hoping that would sort of rub off on me a little bit when I moved there, but unfortunately, no such luck.
Yeah, it's great to hang out, but it's not excellent on the ego. In your 20s.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Definitely had that feeling.
What other suggestions we got, Flynn?
So we got Stingray from Jessica as well.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. Have you ever stood in a stingray before, Flynn?
I have. Yep.
Yeah. Were you stunned, or were you just sort of freaked out by it?
It was just a slimy little dude that swam away, and that was kind of it. But it freaks you out a little bit because they do, those barbs and
no joke. Sorry, I might upgrade this. I've drawn him a little big, so I'm going to upgrade this stingray to a manta ray. I feel like manta rays is like the next Pokemon evolution of the stingray.
Yeah.
So he's just leveled up a little bit here.
It's so true. It's almost like stingrays are like way almost smaller than you would think, and then manta rays are like 4 times bigger than you probably think. Those things are massive.
Yeah, they're pretty outrageous. My grandfather he got stung by a stingray once. I think he said it was the most painful thing he'd ever experienced. It sounded pretty full on.
Wow.
Might even try a little bit shading. I have to say, it's not a super exciting feature, but my favorite thing about Fresco is actually just the standard pencil brush. I think it's the best digital pencil brush that I've found on anything. It's really, really good.
Just the basic pencil brush that ships
with it. Just the basic pencil brush. I don't know what they've done, but something about the tilt control is just really on point. So you can, bad pun, but you can use the point really well, but also the side of the pencil, and it feels like a very natural transition between those two things. Whereas sometimes it feels a little bit forced on some of them. What were we using? We were using the gritty brush pen. All right, what else can I add? We need some more land-based or sky-based stuff. We're going to run out of water pretty quick.
Okay, cool. Well, we have a saltwater croc, so
Oh, fantastic.
a hybrid creature. So we could he could live there somewhere on the edge, I think.
Hmm. I've just recently seen that. I've got a long-held passion for drawing big crocodiles, and I think it very much comes from my favorite illustrator, Quentin Blake. Is a he drew the quintessential crocodile book, which is it's not the Very Hungry Crocodile, the Giant Crocodile. It's meant to be famous.
I
Anyway,
think
he
the
did a
very hungry
fantastic
caterpillar might be.
Yeah. That's not the one I'm thinking of. Anyway, but he's doing it. He's got a bunch of his crocodile drawings going on auction at Christie's of London in a couple of weeks. So in a couple of weeks' time, I will have no money at all because I'm probably going to buy one.
So are they originals, like his original sketches or something like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got a foundation, a place called the Illustration House in Britain, and it's almost like a museum to illustration that he's created, and I think he kind of funds that with sale of his work. So all the funds go to this illustration institute in London, which I went to last time I was there, and it's an amazing place. Very, very cool.
That's super awesome. Do you own anything like that? Like, do you have a prized artwork or original or like limited edition or something from like a favorite artist yet, or would this be your first?
If I got this, it would probably be the first original from like a famous artist that I got.
Yeah.
My partner very kindly bought me a signed print of his last Christmas, which is extremely exciting. So that sits over my desk as sort of my sort of shrine to illustration. Above my desk is my Quentin Blake print. So having an original would be pretty next level.
That's next level, yeah.
But we do have in my house I think the illustrator's name is E.D. White, and he's the illustrator that did, I'm probably getting that wrong, I think it's E.D. White. And he was the illustrator that did Winnie the Pooh, and we actually have an original of his in our living room that my partner has from her grandparents, and that's really special. That's really nice. Yeah. What about you, Flynn? You got any art collections coming along?
I've got a couple. My prized one is it's just a print, but it's a print by Milton Glaser, and that he's signed as well.
Wow.
Who very sadly recently passed. But yeah, I got that when I was in New York, so that's pretty special.
Very cool. Yeah.
Got some great suggestions.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'm almost done with this crocodile, so keen to get some more coming through. Did you know that in the Northern Territory there are beaches? I didn't realize this until recently, but there are beaches with crocodiles, and the crocodiles have been known to sort of body surf on the waves into shore at the beach. I'm still staggered with just like the vision of a crocodile surfing towards you at the beach. It's just the most terrifying thing in the world.
That is super terrifying.
I think I love drawing friendly crocodiles because in real life, I just think they're the scariest things in the world. They're just living dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Wow, that one came out really big. I might shrink him down a little bit. Right, what other suggestions do we have?
Well, I'm trying to lean us more towards things that could be on land. There's definitely
I can be adaptable here. I was watching part of the newest SpongeBob movie because I'm a grown up recently, and there's a squirrel that lives in Bikini Bottom that just goes around with in an astronaut suit the whole time.
Yeah.
So like a reverse astronaut suit would also work for any aquatic life that needs to be above ground.
Like a fishbowl, like
a fishbowl,
like a fish driving like a fishbowl or something. But that's cool. So Sponge was definitely thrown out there as well, so you can keep Sponge in your back pocket if you like. But also there was a bit of a pirate theme going on. So we've got treasure chest, bottles of rum. It could be like a deserted island beach. So I do like I like that pirate suggestion, guys.
Cool. Okay. Sorry, I keep drawing.
Pirate pigeons, Moat of the Void. I really like that.
Pirate pigeon.
Pirate pigeon.
Okay, I'll have to give that a go. So,
With just a little human on it on his wing.
Oh boy. Okay. We can do this. Trying to remember exactly what a parrot characteristics are. So we've got a bit of a basic pigeon shape. I think they need to sort of have giant eyes and look sort of perpetually stunned. That seems to be the pigeon look, and slightly unfocused eyes as well. And then it's got to have a little sort of pigeon claw hand and a peg leg, definitely. I'm just tapping the screen twice to undo, and you can do a 3-finger tap to repeat if you want as well. Might have a little treasure chest down here, but it might just be filled with chips.
Gotta watch out for the
seagulls.
I
imagine that's what a pirate pigeon would collect.
That would be a treasure for a pirate pigeon, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It would have to have a little sauce packet coming out the side as well. I mean, they're pretty much a treasure to everyone.
So that's a question, right? With chips, what's the condiment of choice? And I want chat to let me know as well, because I know around the world everyone has different things. But tomato sauce, barbecue sauce.
Recent discovery was it always felt like a particular luxury to get tartar sauce when I get fish and chips. And I just went and got like a squeegee bottle of tartar sauce, and I just have, I don't know, it's one of those things I think because I've only ever had it in these tiny packets, I've just assumed that the value of tartar sauce is much greater than it actually is. So having my own squeegee bottle of tartar sauce feels like sort of unimaginable riches.
You're a god now. Basically,
I am basically. Yeah, that's very true, Flynn. Yeah. When you put it that way, it makes a lot of sense. All right. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to choose a different brush to do some slightly finer work. Let's try out the Blake pen, and let's see if we can get a little. Oh yeah, that's feeling better. So.
I think I'll throw in the suggestion as well, chat. If we could think about some things that might be in the sky, so we can start filling up some of that space up here. Oh, thanks for going with the suggestion of the little man.
Yeah, he's just a little squawking man.
I can't think of anything more annoying than if there was a little man on my shoulder yelling in my ear.
All right, makes sense. Cool. What we could have, if I can make a suggestion, is I can't remember what movie it's from, but there was I could do one of those kind of flying pirate ship kind of things. So a pirate ship in the sky.
Oh, cool.
If we continue that a little bit. Maybe I'll try and work one of those in. So let's go with a little galleon kind of thing. Got to get some cannons in there. I'm keen to know what everyone's doing this Thursday night or Friday morning. People are at work or taking it easy. Just let us know what's going on in the chat.
On the story about the crocodile, Festus is saying a story from Cairns, which is, in Queensland, so the north. There's more crocodiles and stuff up there. At a wedding by the beach behind the church and next to the sea was a swing set for kids, and there was a sign that said, "Beware saltwater crocs."
Oh my god.
I mean, if you don't like kids, play on the swing set.
Yeah. Okay, well, that'll do for this guy. I might move him out of the way. He's crowding out that surfer.
Here's a great question. We'll jump into a practical kind of question for you here.
Sure.
From Darylyn. For somebody just getting into illustration, what would you say are some of the key differences between Photoshop and Fresco?
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much for the question. Flynn and I were just talking about that briefly beforehand. I think the main difference would be that Photoshop was kind of originally created for as a sort of photo manipulation tool. So there's lots more emphasis within Photoshop on sort of adding filters and warping things and adjusting things. And it has like a huge drawing and painting potential. But it sort of covers, it's kind of in this space where it does lots of painting, but it also does lots of photo manipulation. And it kind of goes between those two things. And it's an incredibly deep program now. You can do animation and 3D. It's sort of this cornucopia of stuff. Whereas Fresco is much more of a sort of custom design program for drawing and painting. And it's something that is sort of optimized for the iPad. So it's something that you sort of pick up and you sketch on. And it's sort of for loose, free sketching is kind of what Fresco seems to be more designed for. So I think if you're starting out in illustration, either one will work fine for you. I kind of, the way I kind of think of it for me is if I need sort of power and precision, I go to Photoshop. And if I'm just sort of chilling out and doing some sketching or experimenting, then I love Fresco. So that would be so either one's good. If you just need something simple to get started, I'd go with Fresco. And you can get a free version of it. So that's that as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
All right.
Very cool.
I think we need something on the wave. Have there been any suggestions that could be incorporated into a wave?
That's a good question. What have I missed? There's been lots of suggestions. We're talking about bottles of rum and stuff like that as well. So there's that.
Oh yeah, we have a message in a bottle somewhere.
Message in a bottle. That is great.
Yeah. Also, another sort of handy tip with Fresco is you can, if you hold the line, you can adjust it, which is such a great little feature for just drawing straight lines in a program like this.
Can you elaborate on that? Like exactly how you draw a straight line?
Yeah, so basically, if I'm drawing a straight line with my left hand, it's not going to come out very straight. I get an approximation. But if I hold my pen in place, I think I've done that one too wiggly. If I hold my pen in place, it'll snap. And you can see I can just kind of manipulate that line.
Yeah.
So it's something that helps you sort of draw more accurate lines. But also if you're not quite a sort of very confident drawing a straight line, you can just kind of hold it there. It snaps into a line and you can move it wherever you need it. So it's a really great, simple little feature.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Got jellyfish with peanut butter from Festus. I missed that when you said it the first time. That's crazy.
Jellyfish with peanut butter. Is there some relationship between jellyfish and peanut butter, or is this just a total non sequitur? Oh, is that a thing about? Oh, it's octopuses that can open jars. I was thinking maybe there's a link there. Anyway, whatever it is, I love the idea. I think we can work with that. I'm just going to go for a peanut butter. Oh, it's like peanut butter and jelly. Is that where he's going? I'm going to assume that's it.
You let us
peanut
know.
Butter and jelly.
I'm going to throw some more out because I missed some before and I don't want to miss them. So there was resurfacing submarine.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
Good.
Johanna's asking, would you like to see animation come to Fresco, Bill?
Yes, I would. I think like we were talking about with the person asking the question about sort of getting started, I think the iPad is a great, I mean, it's becoming a product that you can use sort of for really finished art, but it's such a great introductory thing for trying stuff out. And I think there's huge potential for people sort of looking, or someone like me who doesn't really know what they're doing with animation but wants to give it a go. I think being able to just sort of sample it by trying something out on the iPad is really cool. So yeah, no, I'd love to see that.
It's interesting. It's interesting with features, isn't it? Because that's kind of how Photoshop started. Like, there's really good at doing this one kind of core thing, and then as you add more and more features, it widens out.
Yeah.
But you can do the time lapse. You can do the time lapse now, which is quite cool. In Fresco.
Oh yeah.
So you can export.
Can we see where we're up to so far? if I go export, time-lapse export.
Yeah.
Oh, we're exporting the whole thing now.
Oh, that might be asking a lot.
Oh, I'm sure we'll get there very soon. Oh, can we play this back?
Wow, that was quick.
Oh, right.
I like that little insight into like a previous project. That's cool.
Be careful, kids. It captures all of your history. Luckily, This is a very safe file.
There was a question here that I can answer from Mike. Any live streams on Illustrator? I'm assuming for the iPad. Super keen to get into Illustrator on the iPad, but it's missing a lot of features. All my design work is vector for laser engraving and painting. Yeah, we actually do have some stuff in the works. So hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll have some Illustrator on the iPad. It's quite interesting. It's like when Fresco first came out. I think it's probably 2 years ago now or something like that. It's the direction is largely driven by what people want. Because if you're trying to compress something like Illustrator into an iPad, you can't basically. So it's really interesting the shape and the direction that Fresco has gone based on what people want to use it for. Less so than what Adobe thinks people want to use it for. It's like a totally different way of creating the apps. And so the direction that Fresco has gone has been based on, exactly like what people want to use it for and features that they want. I'm sure Illustrator and Photoshop will be exactly the same, and they'll slowly kind of morph into the direction that people want to use iPads. But we've got some stuff planned.
It's such an interesting sort of change in design of all kinds of things where everything's kind of seen as iterative, where it's even sort of the simplest tools have updates on them now. I mean, like you see it with how the Tesla cars kind of update overnight, and suddenly your car does something else that you can sort of request from the manufacturer. And I imagine everything's going to be going a little bit that way over time.
Yeah.
Just doing a flying stingray through the sky here. Cool. What other suggestions have we got? Any more illustration questions?
There is an illustration question actually. So Mode of the Void asked, so do you shift paintings from Fresco to Photoshop and back? And if so, how well does that work for you, taking all caveats into account? So I guess first question, do you do that or do you keep them separate?
Well, I have done it a little bit. This morning was the first time that I did it through the just saving the cloud document and reopening it. And I've been very impressed so far how seamless it is. Obviously, there are features that aren't supported in Fresco that you can apply in Photoshop. But because the projects that I'm taking into Fresco, I kind of know that I wanted to edit them in Fresco. They're not super complicated files. They're usually just sketches and things. So far, the experience has been really good. I imagine if you started having something that had really complicated masks and sort of effects layers and animation or anything like that you can incorporate into a Photoshop document, you could come into some issues so far. But so far, the experience for me of just handing things back and forth has been really relaxed, and doing it through cloud now has been awesome. You don't really have to think about it, and it is quite a different way of thinking about things. Like I recently got Fresco on my phone, and it just kind of freaked me out the first time I sent a PSD to my phone and then it opened in layers. It was just like, I don't even know what to do with this now. So the idea of being able to sort of like have a file that I'm opening on my desktop and my phone and my tablet is a lot. But I think that's probably how we're going to be thinking about things going into the future, where you sort of hopefully get to a place where you can be a little bit more device agnostic and you're not thinking about, where that whole experience just becomes a little bit more seamless.
Yeah. That's good. Good point.
I need something to draw, Flynn.
All right. Resurfacing submarine.
Resurfacing submarine. Okay, maybe we'll put this on the top of the wave coming out here.
Nice.
We'll have our submarine coming up. Such a classic, the resurfacing submarine. Let's get some Beatles style.
Oh, nice.
What are they called? Periscopes.
Periscope.
Coming up the top.
I was reading recently in a post that people were talking about like different militaries and stuff, and someone was saying the food on the submarine is always like amazing.
Really?
Yeah, and some people were saying why is that? And I said because you're stuck in this tube for like months on end. If you know it's seen as like a mandatory thing to stop people from going crazy. Apparently, if the ice cream machine is broken, the captain's allowed to not let the submarine leave the dock until it's fixed. I don't know if that's true, but I love the anecdote.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, wow. I actually met a submarine commander a while ago at a lunch I was having with some people. And one of these people at the lunch just happened to be a submarine commander, which is the most extraordinary thing. I mean, it must just be one of those things where it's like, I don't know if you're in a chosen profession and you start to get a sense of like, I mean, illustrators come in all shapes and sizes, but there's some commonalities. You get a sense of like what sort of a lot of illustrators are like. And I imagine there's a similar thing where like your average submarine commander, there's got to be a couple of character traits that lead you to the sort of ability to be that kind of person. It would be such a crazy job to have. So we've got this person throwing off the shackles of their confinement. Got a couple of windows in our submarine here. Some engine bits and bobs going on. And then they've got like their little ship thing at the back there, isn't there?
Illustration app kind of question from Mike. Fresco looks cool to use. What export options does it offer? Can you convert to vector? Well, you can pick just the vector brushes and keep your whole layer as vector. What about exporting to vector? But yeah, I think if you wanted to play around with vector, you'd really want to. You can just use the vector brushes and that layer.
Yeah, if I go publish and export, you've got PNG, JPEG, PSD, and PDF. So obviously they would have all of their normal attributes, but yeah, as Flynn was saying, yeah, you can sort of inbuild input all your vector brushes with this little tab here on the left, and then I don't know if PDFs or anything support vector, but obviously a PSD will, so you can do that.
There you go.
Put some little antennas on this guy, a couple more circles. Thought we'd go with a bit of a steampunk sort of screw engine on the back there.
I like it.
I know that's not sort of particularly modern technology in the submarines. That said, hearing about Australia's recent troubles with submarine building, they could have put screws on all of them. I don't know. That's a 6 submarine burn for anyone in the military production industry out there.
Take that.
Oh wow! Okay.
Didn't we bring in boats? There's another Australian kind of fun fact in Sydney. We brought in some boats that I think brought them into I think it was the Georges River or something, and they don't fit under the bridges.
Oh really?
Well, they do, but people can't stand on the top, which is what they were designed for, or they could potentially hit the top of the bridges.
Oh dear. Yeah, they recently brought some new trains into the Blue Mountains where I live, and they also did not measure the width of the platforms for those trains, so they're having to do a bunch of resizing of platforms around here to make up for that. Slight snafu.
Yep. We seem to have a problem with transport and measurement. So another suggestion: a shark with sunglasses.
Oh yeah, that's good.
That's cool.
I was going to look at some shark reference. I don't know. I find sharks surprisingly. I've never quite locked down the particularly sharky shape. I think my sharks often turn out looking a little dolphin-esque.
Right.
But I will give it a go. We got space for a shark over there? Not really. Maybe I'll just have a shark leaping out of the water. So they've got these kind of pointed heads. And I think this is going to have to be a kind of like 90s cool shark. So let's get some teeth there.
90s cool shark. I like it.
Yeah. Do you ever recall they were called like Street Warriors or something like that? There was this toy and they were like these muscled up sharks that you could buy as toys. Street sharks. That was the
Yep.
one. Yeah. The best. Um,
Oh, I like this suggestion, Richard. Where have you been all stream? What about a pint of glass beer with a goldfish jumping in the air above it?
Fantastic.
That's cool. It is definitely pint of beer weather today.
Yeah.
I love it.
Sorry, folks. I'm struggling a little bit in my shark shape here.
What's the craziest creature you've seen in Australia? I'll let you go first.
Contrary to sort of popular belief, they're not actually sort of coming out at you at all times. You kind of have to go looking for them. I think my favorite Australian creature, and one for just sort of sheer excitement value, was probably a monitor lizard or a big goanna. I remember because they're quite big. They're quite big lizards, but there's just something really lethal about them and really quite scary. I remember having a barbecue once, and this big goanna lizard was hanging around, I think, looking for a snack. And we threw these big T-bone steaks that we'd finished eating. So it was a big piece of bone on this T-bone steak. And this goanna picked up this big piece of bone and then climbed halfway up a tree. And they kind of get halfway up the tree and start sort of swallowing the food when they're halfway up there.
Wow.
And you could just hear these incredibly loud cracks as it just crunched through this giant piece of bone halfway up this tree. And they're just scary animals, but very cool. So I'd say big goanna. What about you, Flynn?
That's cool. Well, I don't know if it's just because we were talking about stingrays and manta rays, but I think, I think it was Heron Island or somewhere insanely beautiful up in Queensland, and there were just we were just snorkeling, there were these giant manta rays just swimming around, and just how massive and graceful they were. I think that's pretty cool.
How big were they?
They're enormous. They're like as big as a car, like as big as like
my God.
Like an SUV car. Like they're like wingspan, fin span.
Yeah.
I don't know. Incredibly big. But the general rule in Australia is you got to look out for the little things. It's the redback spiders you've really got to worry about.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not a very exciting, scary animal, but where I live, there's lots of cockatoos, which are these big sort of parrot-like birds, and they're these huge white ones, and they've got this amazing frill on the top of their head, and they grow to very old ages. You can get cockatoos that are like, I think they get up to like 80 or 90 years old. Like it's amazing. Sorry, don't quote me on my animal facts. But they're these very intelligent, interesting kind of birds. But they're always out sort of around here looking for a snack, and you have to be really careful not to feed them, because if you start feeding them and then stop, they kind of hang around your house, and they've been known to sort of just like chew people's houses apart. They've got these incredibly strong beaks, and we've got this deck out the back, and like there are people's houses that you can just see like the facade has been like torn away, and like bits of their handrail are missing because they didn't feed the parrots, and the parrots got grumpy and started eating their house instead.
Wow.
So not a lot of personal danger, but property value danger, definitely.
Takeaway is birds in Australia sometimes eat your house.
Yes. And we've got a baby magpie that's moved into our backyard as well, which is very cute, but you have to be careful because the mum's very protective. So we're sort of treading very carefully around our baby magpie friend.
The swoopy boys are out in force. So for those that don't know, magpies, just black and white birds, look a lot like crows, a little bit smaller, I think. And they're very territorial during, I think, mating, or when they have a full nest. And they will swoop people for about 3 months straight. And I think everybody has a being swooped by a magpie story.
Yeah,
in Australia.
Yeah, definitely. How are we doing for time, Flynn?
Yeah, we've got about 10 minutes left.
Cool. That's working out nicely. Just going to check a little bit of background in here. Any more suggestions that have come through that I could work on?
Yeah, for sure. What have I missed? Cool. Thanks, Chris. I like the suggestion. We need more sand animals. Crab building or living in a sand castle. That's cool. I like it a lot.
That's great.
We need crabs. Yeah, Camilla. Hey, Camilla. Great to see you. Thanks for hanging out, guys. It's so much fun when we do this stream and everyone throws in these great suggestions and, you know, pepper it in with some questions and help some people out, but also just kind of chill out with you all. So thanks so much for joining us. It's always just a blast. Lots of fun.
All right, we've got our little crabby friend here working on his house. Do they have 6 or 8 legs? It's only 6, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, they're not arachnids. Yeah.
Right. There you go.
Do you know what genus a crab is? Oh, it's a crustacean, of course.
Crustacean. Yep, that makes sense. I'm glad you said it. Could have been sitting here for a long time, scratching my head. Just depends on how quick I can Google. Darylyn is asking, I heard koalas are like your guys' equivalent to squirrels. They're not as frequent. Like you won't be in like a park in the city and there'll just be koalas around. They tend to live in their kind of in the bush, in the kind of their native habitat. As long as we don't burn it, as long as we don't let it burn down.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big problem.
I think possums are probably a little bit more analogous.
Right.
There are possums in the US, aren't they? That's a thing.
Yeah, I think there are possums in the US. Yeah, you guys have possums, right?
Yeah.
Zip ties on your helmet is what Mike Powell's saying. Yeah, I think that's in defense, to defend against the swoopy boys. So the magpies, they're pretty smart. So I think the other thing that I used to do is wear a hat backwards.
Oh yeah.
And they sometimes they think that you're looking backwards, but you're actually looking forward. So they tend not to swoop you as much. The peanut butter jelly is getting a lot of love. Oh, is that why?
It's a good
peanut butter jelly. Is that why it's a peanut butter jellyfish? Because peanut butter jelly. Yeah. Okay, I missed that. Totally missed the pun there.
Okay, we got a little crab castle coming along. Oh, there was going to be a sponge. I might try and get a... All right, for copyright reasons, we're just going to see the back of this character. I'm sure there's no danger in actual copyright, but just for fun.
Richard dropping the facts. Did you know that only 1 in 200 baby turtles makes it to adulthood? It's a very sad thought.
Way to bum us out this morning. Jeez.
I like this World of Warcraft reference from Murder the Void. I'm sure it is. Another turtle made it to the water. Yep, I played that World Quest quite a lot.
What's the World of Warcraft reference?
They have this thing called World Quest, like basically daily repeatable kind of quests, and it was like basically a very famous one that was pretty boring. It was like a little mini game, and that's what they would say every time. You basically had to protect turtles, like baby turtles, making it to the water, and it was very mundane and repetitive, but somehow almost essentially required for a long time.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that it's in World of Warcraft. It's not World of Animal Conservation.
Right.
Not exactly the Warcraft that you came for.
No. Yeah. There are very cute species of yellow crabs in Brazil. We call them Mary Sands. Oh, that's cool. I'm going to check them out.
Oh, wow.
Thanks, Camilla. Crabs are tasty. I'm sure they are. I don't eat seafood.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Actually, a weird Australian animal, if people want to look them up, speaking of tasty seafood, is have you ever tried a Balmain bug?
Well, I don't. I'm allergic to seafood, so I don't eat any seafood.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so I'm off the grid.
It's this very tasty crustacean that basically looks a bit like a face hugger from Alien.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Not particularly nice to look at, but very tasty with garlic and butter.
Wow. Take your word for it.
Yeah. For good measure, I might just work in a little sea snail in there.
How's the art space going? Last time we were on, I think a week ago, you mentioned that got an art space near you that you're opening up? How's
Yes,
that
yes.
going?
I'm in the process of putting together an art gallery that's going to open in mid-December. So it's still a little while to go. But the work I was talking about, the stuff I was moving between Photoshop and Fresco, were some big vinyl decals that we're going to be putting up in the windows. So still very much in sort of production mode with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'll just put a couple more little random fishies in there.
Got about another 2 minutes, then I think we'll take like a tour through our beach, check it out, have a look, find out what everyone's favorite is.
Awesome.
It's a lot of love for the peanut butter jellyfish. I like that. I like that a lot.
I just finally fill out a little bit of the space with some clouds. It's become a busy one. It's worked out really nicely. Thank you so much, everyone, for all your contributions. It's very fun having people hanging out in the stream.
Absolutely.
All right, should we start our tour through the picture?
Have a look through. Yep. Let's check it out.
All
Let us know
right.
what your favorite is, guys.
So we've got a magical flying pirate ship here. I might just add a little flag on top of that guy. We started out with our surfer friend. Might just go to full screen. And then we've got his duck companion there.
Nice.
Slightly less finished duck hanging out in the background.
He doesn't get a board because he wasn't finished.
Cousin. Yeah.
That's great.
We've got a message in the bottle down here. A couple more fishies. Had our turtle turn up here. We've got our cowboy seahorse together there. Got a mega submarine emerging from the waves. Everyone's favorite crunchy peanut butter jellyfish. We've got a slightly confused looking snail.
They're always confused. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's such a weird animal. And we've got, I'm sure, slightly inebriated fish there. We've got an unnamed cartoon sponge observing all the goings on.
Yeah.
We've got our mega crocodile flying through the sky. Above that, we've got a super cool 90s. Oh, you should have a little hat backwards or something. Make
Perfect.
sure he's
To protect
extra cool.
from the magpies, which is great.
Yes, yeah. A shark there. Got a little hot air balloon. We got a secondary flying manta ray. We've got Flynn hanging out under his umbrella.
I'm getting burnt from the legs down though, but that's all right. Got to start
Oh
somewhere.
yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, we can work that in. A little bit of a pinky burn coming up on Flynn there.
It's like looking into a mirror.
Then we've got a slightly suspicious-looking architect crab building his castle. We've got our pirate pigeon with his squawking little man on the back, and yeah, that's where we got up to.
That's cool. So
Well
much
done.
in such a little time. Some great suggestions, everybody.
Yes, thank you so much. It's been really fun. I always love doing these ones.
Johanna's asking, would you send this to us as a coloring in page, like just the outlines?
Absolutely.
Send
Very
it to me.
happy
I'll
to.
throw it on Discord if you're all right with that. That could be fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not one of those meditative mandala ones. It's slightly more frenetic, but I'd be very keen to see if anyone does it.
That's awesome. I hope you guys have fun. We always have a lot of fun doing these interactive drawing sessions with you. We've got one next week, so let us know in chat here while we've got a couple minutes left, or jump over to Discord, let us know over there if you have any particular theme that you might want, or Bill and I will come up with something before we do and have a little bit more fun. Next week it's going to be on Thursday. We're kind of chilling out, and we hope you can join us. It'll be around the same time. And Bill, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Flynn, and thanks everyone for tuning in. It's always fun.
Thanks everyone. Have a great weekend or Thursday night. See ya.